Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. My dear cadets, Assalamu alaikum and welcome to the bio class of class first year. Let me to start the chapter number 1. Today I'll discuss with you what is a cell and one of its component, that is the cell wall. So the first question is cell. The word cell is derived from a Latin word cellula, which means a small apartment or little home. It was discovered for the first time by Robert Hooke in 1665. He was also published it in his book Micrographia. Dear cadets, we can define the cell in many ways, but one of its basic definition is it's the basic structure and functional unit of any kind of living organism. We can also define the cell in another way as a unit of biological activity delimited by a semi-permeable membrane and capable of self-replication in a medium free of other living organisms. So, in this way you can define the cell. You also know about the modern theory of cellular organization, which was proposed by Schleiden and Schwann. Schleiden was a zoologist and Schwann was a botanist in 1838 and 1839 respectively. They proposed the modern theory of cellular organization. The main points of cellular organization are: the first point is all living things are composed of one or many cells. In case of the unicellular organization, for example, it's a bacterial cell, the organism is composed of a single cell, while in case of multicellular organization, for example in plant, many cells are present. The second point is new cells are formed from pre-existing cell by cell division. One of the basic fundamental characteristics of the living organism is to reproduce. The third point is cell contains the hereditary material which is present in the nucleus of an organism. It is passed from pre-existing cell to the new cell, that is from parent to the daughter. The last point is all metabolic processes take place within cell. You can also say cell is a small unit that carries out all the vital activities of life. For example, reproduction, for example, respiration, digestion, photosynthesis, and etc. So it's all about the cell. Now the second thing is the cell wall. Each cell has many parts or components. So the first component of a cell, of a plant cell, is the cell wall. It was discovered by Robert Hooke in 1665. Cell wall is a non-living part of the cell present on the outer side of the cell membrane. It's the cell membrane. It is present on the outer side of the plasma membrane or the cell membrane in the plant or some other cell like in a bacterial cell. Its formation takes place at the telophase of the cell division. In young cell, the cell wall is thin and delicate, but in large cell, the cell wall becomes thick and strong. It is secreted by the protoplasm of a cell for its protection and other purposes. Cell wall of a prokaryotic cell is different from a eukaryotic cell both in structure and composition. It's a plant cell, so it's a eukaryote, and it's a bacterial cell, it is a prokaryote. The cell wall of this prokaryote is different from the cell wall of the eukaryote, that is from the plant cell, both in structure and composition. The cell wall of the plant cell is mainly composed of cellulose and some of the other substances, the hemicellulose, inorganic salt, waxes and cuticle, etc., while the cell wall of a bacterial cell is mainly composed of membrane. So that's why the cell wall of a bacterial cell is different, which is a prokaryote, from the cell wall of a plant cell which is composed of cellulose, both in structure and composition. Now if you look at the diagram, it's the diagram. Each cell wall has three parts or three layers. That is, one is the middle lamella, the other is the primary wall, and the last one is the secondary wall. These are the fundamental parts of a cell wall. The first one, that is the middle lamella. Lamella means plate. The middle lamella is composed of pectic substances, which is a polysaccharide, calcium and magnesium salts, for example, calcium pectate and magnesium pectate. It is the first formed, I can say, it's the first form layer, which is sticky and jelly-like substance. It is present between the primary wall of the adjacent cell. For example, it's a plant cell A and it's a plant cell B. It's the primary wall of the cell B and it's the primary wall of cell A. So between the primary wall of both A and B, the middle lamella is present. It is about 1 micrometer in thickness and in OD tissue usually lignified. The second layer is the primary wall. As the name indicates, it is the first wall formed in the developing cell, so it's a true wall and usually 1 to 3 micrometer in thickness. On either side of the middle lamella, it's the middle lamella on either side, on both sides of the middle lamella, on this one and this one. The cellulose is deposited and arranged in a crisscross manner to form the primary wall. It also contains some pectic substances and lignin. The crisscross manner means just like a net of a volleyball. These are the cellulose fiber which are present at right angle to each other. This such type of arrangement of the cellulose fiber in the primary wall is called crisscross arrangement. It is more or less elastic and extendable. It is crystalline and optically active. Optically active means the primary wall is capable of rotating the plane of polarized light either to the left or right. Dear cadets, I told you the primary wall in OD tissue is lignified. Lignin is a hard and complex polymer and found in OD tissue, and its deposition is called lignification. The last one is the secondary wall. It is about 5 to 10 micrometer in thickness. It is an extra layer formed inside the primary wall by the protoplasm. For example, it's the primary wall of the cell A and it's the primary wall of the cell B. So it's the secondary wall. It's present inside the primary wall. It consists of mainly of cellulose, hemicellulose, inorganic salt of calcium, magnesium and potassium, silica, waxes and cutin is also they are also present. For example, in the stem and leaf, some of the waxes and cuticle they are present. It is considered a supplementary wall. It's generally thick and its main function is to give rigidity and support to the plasma membrane. So it's all about the cell wall. Now I'm sure you will understand the cell and the cell wall. With the help of this diagram, please read and listen the lecture carefully, and if you have any problem you can ask.